Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast where the surroundings look a little bit different. But I wanted to kind of do a deep dive about kitchens. How are you choosing the house that you're purchasing, and is it based upon a kitchen? And then what are some of the items in a kitchen that you might want to consider prior to purchasing the home? Now, you may not be aware of this, but kitchens and primary beds and primary baths are the main areas that buyers look at when they are purchasing. Now, if you are a chef or a cook, or you just love getting in the kitchen, then today's episode may be perfect for you. So let's dive in. One of the first things that you want to consider is who designed the kitchen? Or was it actually designed? Was it just a floor plan and the builder went in and stuck some cabinets on the wall? Knowing if the home or the kitchen has been designed, truly thought out, is a big deal. And it can actually make a huge difference if you are someone who loves to be in the kitchen. So we are going to go through the 3 elements that I think you should consider when you get ready to purchase, when it's all about the kitchen. The first item that we're going to talk about is the value of the appliances. If you're looking to purchase a home and the appliances are coming with the home, typically what we consider built-ins are the vent hood, the stove or oven or range, the dishwasher, and sometimes the microwave if it's built in. The refrigerator is treated as a piece of furniture unless it has been framed in. Either way, you want to go ahead and put it on there if you do expect it to stay. But looking at the quality of those items is really, really important. Now, the kitchen that we're in today, this home is for sale, and we're going to put the link below, but follow along because we're going to show you all of the items and the values that are intrinsic to the brands that this homeowner chose. So the first thing we're going to talk about as far as the value of an item is the vent hood. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a really sexy, exciting topic, but it is, and it's important because in this case, it is a KitchenAid, which is an excellent quality and value, but this one actually vents to the exterior of the home. Now, 90% of the homes in our market, the vent hood doesn't vent anywhere. It just kind of makes a noise and blows around. This one actually takes the odor and the heat and sucks it out and puts it to the exterior of the home. So that's a big deal if you spend a lot of time here in this space. The next item we're going to talk about is this 36-inch Italian brand Bertazzoni gas range. 5 burners, and each burner is a different size, so it lets you adjust the flames. If you're cooking a very delicate sauce, you've got the small burner, and then if you've got a big old pot of beans, then you've got one of the larger burners. It really truly can make a difference. As I'd mentioned, it's 36 inches in width, so this oven will support like your big roasting pot or a larger cake if you're serving a very large portion. So these things do make a difference. Next, we're going to talk about the dishwasher. So the dishwasher is KitchenAid. It's really important that you pick the right dishwasher because some dishwashers are so incredibly loud that it will ruin the sound in your kitchen, and especially if there's more than one cook and all you're hearing is the dishwasher. So be sure and pick a brand that specializes in quietness and in quality. And in this case, you can see that the interior is also stainless. So again, quality appliances. While we're here, I want to talk about the second oven. My favorite thing about the second oven is the height, how it's raised up. If you have a really heavy roast in here, it's much easier to come from here as opposed to having to bend over for the lower. This one also has a warming drawer. Now, most people think a warming drawer is actually for keeping your food warm. That is true, and you can utilize it for that. But the luxury aspect of a warming drawer is to keep your favorite china in it, and it keeps the plate warm. So when you plate the food and take it out to your guests, they have this amazing presentation on a warm plate, and the food stays warm longer so they can enjoy it longer. Then the last item that you want to check into, if you're asking that they leave the fridge, you want to consider, is it sufficient and is it quality? In this scenario, both. This one has a double wide freezer fridge combination. So basically what you have is a full freezer on one side and a full refrigerator on the other side. Now, if you go to Costco, like many in my family do, this would be very, very helpful. The second item you want to think about when you go to choose a kitchen or design a kitchen, in this scenario, it's all been thought out for you, so keep that in mind. But the second item is charm. I know that seems like there's not a good way to describe that, but I'm going to point out some things in this kitchen that really do add the charm. The first is this oversized window with a view. So it's not just a little tiny box window, but it's amazing. It's got amazing natural light, but the view is just perfection. And that water fountain brings in all kinds of wildlife, everything from watching the birds to the squirrels while you're having to do the manual labor of the dishes. When we're talking about charm, having different cabinetry is going to be so important. In this situation, the homeowner had all of these cabinets custom made. They look like individual pieces of furniture, but they're not. They're actually were built on site. And some of the fun features or charm that they lend are they each have different feet. So each piece is a different color and different feet. This particular piece is actually a china hutch. This one would be considered a baking center. And then this one we have is going to have many other features that I will take you through individually. At this time, I also like to point out the different colors in this kitchen. What you will notice is they're very similar to the Swedish artist Carl Larsson, which some of you may be familiar with some of his muted colors. They are known to be very soothing and also to help with the appetite. And they follow within the reds, yellows, and greens that you'll see throughout the kitchen. Also, there's many different styles of knobs, so everything is not completely cohesive. It's very eclectic, which makes it very cozy, which is actually the new trend in kitchens. You're going to find everything from a glass knob to a horse's head to a charming rooster. And the last charming feature I wanted to point out is the beadboard ceiling. A lot of people don't think about their ceiling. It's just a ceiling and they just paint it white and forget it. But in this case, again, soothing color with the beadboard. Even though this home is not antique, it's actually quite new. Everything has the feel of an old antique kitchen, but it's been thoughtfully planned so that it has all of the modern conveniences that you could possibly want. So when we're talking about the colors, you'll notice that each of the countertops will shift according to the colors, and this gives you an excellent flow. So you are not, again, consistent with the countertops, but they do make sense because of the colors, and it just gives it, again, just a really warm and cozy feel. The other influence on this besides Carl Larsson, the artist, was Julia Childs, and you've all heard of Julia Childs. And her thought process is that a kitchen, everything should be hand grab away. You shouldn't have to open a ton of doors to get to what you're needing. And so this open pantry is perfect for that. You'll also notice the wooden valance above the kitchen sink, adding an additional piece of charm. It's easy to just put cabinets up, but it takes a lot of extra effort to add the thoughtfulness and make sure that it feels charming. Also, one of my favorites are the open wooden shelves or niches so that you can display any of your favorite pieces. Because let's face it, if you're in the kitchen, you want those things that are going to make you feel comfortable and smile. The last thing we're going to talk about when you go to choose your kitchen are features. What are some of the features in this kitchen that make it extra special? So this is fantastic if you're a baker because the marble does not stick to the dough and adhere, and you do want a cool surface if you're doing certain types of breads or pie crust. I personally love marble for pie crust. The other features that we have are these amazing pull-outs. It's really important when you go to do pasta or noodles is that you have varying heights. And the reason that's important is if you were doing pasta here, sometimes you can't lean on it hard enough from this higher angle, whereas with a lower angle, you can really press your weight into it and get a good flat, even surface. These are also amazing for when you're bringing in groceries or you just need a little extra shelf or counter space to put something on. What I can picture is I would have my 3 granddaughters lined up and we could all be doing our pie baking together. I think that would be so amazing. So having these little pullouts is super, not just charming, but also a great feature. You'll also see throughout that there are so many drawers. It's been proven that having drawers rather than open cabinets underneath will give you twice the amount of space because you can access the entire all the way to the back, and it's also much easier on your lower lumbar. So you're not on your knees digging around for something. You can just simply pull the drawer out and take a look. Another feature that we have is these half shelves, and half shelves are amazing because then you double the space. Rather than just having everything the same height, you can do your shorter cups and then your taller glasses. And again, doubling the space is a great way to utilize it. Also, no kitchen would be complete without an appliance garage. And this kitchen has 2. And basically what you have is an electric outlet inside. So you can hide the coffee pot, the Cuisinart, the air fryer, all of those items. And this does have electric inside. We did talk about the style or the quality of the dishwasher, but what I wanted to point out as a feature is that this dishwasher is 13 inches raised from the floor. And guys, if you've just cooked a huge meal, entertained everyone, and now it's time to clean up, you will find this to be amazing. And another feature, yes, this home is chocked full, but this kitchen especially, is this oversized sink. Not only is it extra wide, so you've got space all the way around the sink to set those delicate wine glasses or fine china cups that you need to keep close by, but it's also extra deep, so you've got plenty of room for the cleanup. The next feature we're going to talk about is a little bit controversial. That's right, what could be controversial in a kitchen? A ceiling fan. And this homeowner pointed out that a ceiling fan is for the cook's comfort. So if you're not a big fan of having a fan in the kitchen, then just don't use it. And the number one thing that I get is, why would you have a ceiling fan near an open flame? And the homeowner pointed out that you generally would not use the ceiling fan while you have the open flame going. However, her kitchen does feature the second oven that's electric, which is amazing for baking. It gives it a much more even finish. And when you have both ovens going, then yes, again, for the cook's comfort, a ceiling fan would be quite lovely. And lastly on features is that this kitchen can be completely shut off from either pets entering while you're cooking, small children who might be, grabbing, or even those spouses that are trying to taste test and you're not ready. And this is one of my favorite doors because it is one of the saloon doors. And if you're familiar with that term, that is one that swings, but again, it would keep the pets out and possibly the small children. The spouses, you're on your own. The last feature that I want to share, and this one is really cool, the floor. The floor is what's considered a furred floor. Think of like a high school gymnasium, the floor where they're constantly walking and bouncing and running. Yes, you're not going to be doing that in the kitchen, but if you've ever just spent 4 hours preparing a meal and then another 2 hours cleaning up and your legs and feet are killing you, you are going to love these floors. Because they're furred, they are going to prevent that exhaustion and tiredness on your feet and legs and those ugly varicose veins. So these are items that you may want to consider when you go to choose a kitchen. My thought process is this homeowner's already thought of all of these amazing details and several that I didn't even get to. So just give me a call and come and look at this kitchen because it's all here waiting and ready for you.